오야 다치로 강가 다시 데레 강가 데워도 기보야 보여 이래와요.
So firstly, Tashidele to all Dharma friends. I hope that you're all well and I hope that you're all happy.
다들이용 간주 때니 소소소 맞는 다 기보 간디스 그래 때니 강이 밤에 와서 다 가르가리요 알다들 뉴뉴지 간주리 시작이스.
So as usual, today we will explain just a little bit about how to be able to achieve that happiness that we are seeking in our lives, and also methods to decrease or to minimize the problems, the difficulties that we encounter.
땅으로서 예수도 쓰이나요. 다 기보 미네 집어인데 와요 아래 기보 미네 다 타조 가르레 잘라바이는 소소소 그녀만이 녀마 다와니 다와 다조조데 또 응아데 녀레지 아레스 다 시부터 뭐 관계 좀 요아레스.
So for all of us, the holy beings say, whether ourselves, whether others, in order to be able to work towards, in order to be able to achieve that lasting happiness that we are seeking from the day-to-day level, it is really important to engage in the practice of the five powers.
또 응아세나 간디스레 잘라 또 응아다 니요 니마지라요 버기 녀레지 요아레 나와지라요 저 때문에 요아레 뭐세지라요다 다야 때문에 녀레지이나 거로 또 응아디가 돈에 다 넣어야지 요아레스.
So we can say in terms of these five powers, sometimes called the five forces, that there is a way to practice this collection over the course of a day. There is a way to practice this collection over the course of a month. And there is also a way to practice them for a lifetime in terms of the engagement with these five powers.
또 응아세는 워낙 간디스레 잘라바이나 알면 둥카데만 리라고 지라바이나 아니 또 모텔 펜비도 이빠텔라 바보 사베기도 아니 심바텔라 넘바 산지비도 아니 지바텔라 아니 자지바세는 가바세는 그러는 데는 지바테 알리 콤비도 사스라와 나는 가바텔라 멜로기도 생각하면
And so then in terms of enumerating these five powers, these five forces in an easy way, perhaps we could say that the first of these is the power of force. The second is the power of the seed or the power of the white seed. The third is the power of reproach or disenchantment. And then the last two, usually given as the fourth, sometimes as the fifth, the power of habituation, and finally the power of prayer.
데레 아니 쪼쪼데 다 쇼지 셈비히뇨레 갈베치 두고 야레 동아 데 눈이 주더니 쇼지 셈바 우모 넘보게 다 보게 뇨레 제치 쪼라고지.
And generally, it is said that these five powers, they are important practices of the bodhisattvas. And in particular, they are said to be practices of those bodhisattvas of sharp faculties.
다 가진 것만 떼서 놓자와래 되는 이나였더니 오늘시 떼서 만다와요. 이사들이 라오치기 돈 만두이스.
So then we explained some of these in the previous session, but there is a little bit more to touch on with the first bit as well. So we will proceed in an easy manner.
다 gond라오치기 라멜라치기 돈 만리라오치 로이스.
And we will sort of a little bit like a meditation. We could approach this as an easy meditation. That is how we will proceed.
다 드리기 디세트를 사소스도 쓰이나 템보치네 리도 셀헬레치네 데네 다 동아드뇨레 아부치기 선바치.
So just bring forth this motivation that today, in a stable way, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to settle my body and mind so that I can really engage with this practice of the five powers.
다 동보텔레더니 펜비도 다 야템보치냐레 저기 선바치.
Bring forth the motivation. I will, in a stable way, practice this first power of force.
소소소 르바 동볼 소소 리도 셀타와이나 니카니카라토니 consul l'idea to se equivaio tendriu net mombochi hares.
And if we sort of, as a first step, take a look at the sort of state of our body and mind, we will say that there are times where we experience like a temporary happiness on the physical or mental level.
아니 consulul ya lim made와도 세기 보면 배고 다 되세요. 내가 뭐 뭐지 알았어.
And then there's also many occasions where our body, our physical self, feels unwell, and also where our mind is unhappy.
다 대점매바 제매바라 때문에 든지긴 내서 쉬워 말해 손바닥 맞지 그건데.
We need to have a firm conviction that these experiences, they do not arise without particular cause.
리디아와도 니가를 리디아와도 아니 세기 같은 일레베 갈이나 아니 요나 챈들 조조는 시왕가만 디세리 보이자 든지 디셀 예라 아파게 아니 리디아고 쳐야 세기 보쳐야 그때는 내가 같은 제바이자 내라테네 슈마레 선바지.
So then, in terms of the occasions where our body feels well and healthy, where our mind feels happy, we understand that the cause behind those experiences from this lifetime, but also in particular of many of those previous lifetimes within samsara, this happiness of the mind, this wellness of the body, this arises as the result of those actions that we have engaged in to benefit the mental and physical self and physical health of others.
다내 모텔엔도스 대지엘 보게 편바르 아니 야보치 발라테니 센터 소솔리 데와도 세기바티 슈마레ンド 선바지.
So have this firm idea that from my past activities working for the benefit of others, that is the cause behind my experience of physical wellness and mental happiness.
다요 리마 데와도 세기 보메베네스 아니 뭐지 요아레스 든비게네스 테요 예를 보게 네바시와도 리드셀네네 네바 방에체 발라테니 네 소솔 타던지와 아니 리마 데와도 세기 보메베네스 슈마레 선바지.
And then there are those times where our body is unwell and our mind is unhappy. In terms of the cause of this, it is also connected to others. Those times where I have engaged in actions which may have harmed the physical health of others or which have disturbed the minds of others. As a result of this, I experience this unhappy mind or unwell physical health.
든지게네스를 따와이나요 아니 방에 간가 로로 아니 좀 진실라테니 슈마 니가 데와도 기보이나요 아니 예 진실라테니 슈마데 시보치렌드 선바지.
If we consider all of this and look at it very clearly, we can see that all of the problems that we mentioned can fundamentally be said to arise from self-cherishing attitude. And the temporary happiness that we experience, this arises from the attitude of cherishing others.
딜레체 토가이나요 타바이나요래 아니 존주지 손바도 이제 자와지비 존주지 세이나요 아니 다두고 토자 손지지 공부이나요 예 진실라테니 슈마다 시원더보치렌드 선바템보.
We need to have a firm idea of the clarity of the fact that the temporary happiness we experience, even our attainment of liberation from samsara, being able to bring forth the mind of bodhicitta rooted in love and compassion, as well as achieving our final goal, the state of Buddhahood or complete enlightenment. All of these things arise connected with cherishing others.
네스 든지지자 예 센체 토지게 되는 손지지 공부 마토 받은가 뇨레뇽 뇨지금 뇨레 템보시기 손바지.
So understanding this, we think until I am able to achieve the state of Buddhahood, full enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, I will practice according to this understanding. I will definitely practice.
세 반바 요야가 소노토게 세멘테 좀바도 니지 아니 땡보지도 파쳐도 고만 리바노지 맞아 받은 땡보지 녀래 땡보지 있어.
Bring forth the motivation thinking that in terms of this mind, in a stable way, I want the mind to mix with the minds of love and compassion, just like milk mixes with water. I will practice in a stable way until I actualize this.
전제 시험바 땡보니 세르시 니지 땡보지르시 shonjuji 세지르시 돼요. 아니 어 아니 고지보 자네라 어 띵용버서서 띵용고 말했어. 니바 바보 사벽이 또 어서야 됐더니 주저주죠. 아니 할래비게 바치 뭐 이자 주저주죠 같은 거 지금 있어지.
In order to be able to mix our mind with this love and compassion, in order to be able to bring forth bodhicitta within our mind. Only this meditation, only this contemplation will not be enough. We must come to the second of the five, the power of the seed. In order to be able to successfully bring forth these minds, we must accumulate merit and purify obscurations.
손지도 쇼지 셈바 아니 스드 세이나요. 로지노 다이나요. 아니 곰치부 잡아라 때니 좀 아니 비에 대가 쉬면도 조지데 조자주고 저도 레이다 보시네더니 갈래 세요하는 돈에 또 바시와래.
When we look at the histories, the historical accounts of those great holy beings, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, we see that though meditation is important, there were none of them who were able to bring forth the necessary positive mental qualities through meditation alone. They needed to nourish that seed of meditation with the fertilizer and the water of the practices of accumulation and purification.
대니 기발라 때니 용마레 어다 숨또 숨바 뭐바 선지비도 세하다 할래를 가진 말이었죠.
And not only the power of force and the power of seed, that's not going to be all we need to get where we need to go. We also need to practice the third of these, the power of reproach or disenchantment.
다 대응 넘바 선지비도 생각하는데 녀래가 做 아니 전주세 녀래 이자 될었더니 같이 시게 될라 조 잡은다고 지드네 바시게 돼 롱진스들에 됐어.
And this is based on the understanding that in terms of our practice of bodhicitta, the main thing that is blocking the actualization of that bodhicitta is the self-cherishing attitude.
다 대도 쳐도 보면 리바 노지 녀돈도 되기 때문에 로바 때문에 단지 말이 받지래.
And then mixed together with that attitude, like milk mixed together with water, is that attitude that is the friend of self-cherishing, that reinforces it, the ignorance grasping at the self.
자와테니 지네테니 다 예라라더니 컨트롤라 소바더니 가자타돌라 소바 mambo 친데스.
And so with those two as the root, then the branches of the other afflictions such as anger, pride, jealousy, and so forth arise.
소소 지워그녀다 머니그녀다 멋져다 자다 아니 자가 페지녀다 가르 이나요 샤바부 조데 바니렌데스.
And when we think about the problems we experience, when we think about the problems with others, the problems between two people, between 10 people, even the problems between countries and so forth in the world, we can always trace them back to these fundamental roots of self-cherishing and ignorance grasping at the self.
아니 가제트도 롱진스가 시에서는 또야 가제트도 단지 말이 비거더니 소마노지 메바서는 또야 같이 머리에도 손가지.
And with that understanding, it's very important as much as possible to understand, to comprehend the faults of self-cherishing, and also to understand how the ignorance grasping at the self is a false conception, not something that is in accord with reality, not the way things really are.
지가리나 노아 노지메바 로지지메바 다 템보소노 또야지 가지 보지래.
It's important to have a stable understanding that whatever phenomena we can think of, it does not exist in the way that it appears. It's not naturally existent or existing from its own side.
로진즈가 니보요 아쇼데 아니 센제레레니 주티 칼레 야르 돈네는 강가 타츠모트니 요메바 소소 니 자친구 이더고 야봇 부야들인데 손바지.
In terms of the antidote to self-cherishing, one of the best antidotes is to consider every single sentient being that we can think of, every single sentient being without bias, as being incredibly close to us. And having seen all those beings as close to us, developing this attitude that sees them as attractive, that affectionate love.
아니 다 드리게 세대지 가제트도 야 공부셔야. 아니 텔 멜로그 지타니 봐. 멜로 개와야 보셔봐야는 멜로디 가지고 야 이제 멜로디 senje toje 된다 순지도 빗절은 뭐야 가지 뭐.
And then it is very important to incorporate the next power to as much as possible. Think along these lines to develop number 4, the power of habituation. And then, because virtuous karma empowers us with the facility to be able to accomplish our prayers, to make those prayers, to accomplish these realizations and enlightenment.
어다 거기 이스테리라.
So that was a really brief meditation. Geshe said a brief meditation on those 5 powers.
어다 또 안가됐더니 할래다 니만 가제트도 소소녀래잖아 다 기야 세 기르기를 리디를 된 거야다. 그러다 야 저지렌두스.
So if we are able to every day contemplate these 5 powers every single day, then according with that, our body will feel more and more well, and our mind will feel happier and happier.
소소기바 노무기바 강가 기보차야 제렌데 되기서 야보시로치스.
The practice of the 5 powers becomes a cause for our happiness, a cause for the happiness of those around us, our family, and a cause of happiness of others.
야 뒤체.
Thank you very much.